get the wiggles going.
Oh, I think it says we're live. We're on.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Well,
Yay!
here we are, another Thursday evening with another fun conversation. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Brittany Bateman. I go by Brittany Brainstorm. I own the creative studio Brainstorm Boutique. We help create confident brands through brand design, web design, brainstorm intensives, and confidence coaching.
Yep.
So that's a little bit about me. So I'll just hand it over to Casey, and she's going to take the wheel for a little bit.
Hello, I'm Casey. I am the confidence coach at Brainstorm Boutique. And tonight we have Ariana. She is a muralist, creative consultant, and owner of Ariana Lee Creative. She loves exploring the creative process and helps people build a business unique to the way their minds work. Ariana truly believes in making your own opportunities and defeating the notion that there's only one way to run a successful creative business, which is so important, and I love it. And Ariana, could you just go ahead and talk a little bit more about what exactly a creative consultant is?
Yeah, so weirdly enough, when I first wanted to start my business, I was pretty much told that creative consultant is not a job. So I strayed away from it, but I ended up getting the confidence and coming back to it because I enjoy it. So I help people to rediscover their creativity, make time for their creativity, and build a creative business. So I kind of help them with whatever they need when it's creativity wise, whether it's that you need to make a profit or you need to kind of get back into the flow.
That is so cool. I love that.
I love that. Okay, what you just said about someone else telling you that job does not exist.
Ew.
That's the one thing. Okay, I'm going to do a little sidebar here. I told Casey that I said the most important thing about our business is that we're always supportive of other people's ideas. Like there's good ideas, there's bad ideas, but it's subjective. It's not my place to tell. Like people have to figure that out themselves. So to think that someone would say creative consultant is not a job title, it's like, well, let's just make it happen. When I started my business, I call myself a brainstorm extraordinaire. And I had someone tell me that it was confusing and that it doesn't really exist. So no one's going to be searching for that. And I was like, I don't want to have a job title like everybody else. I want to stand out. So I love that you were like, came back to that. Right? Like that's what you originally set out for and you came back for that. So tell us where you started then. Like if you were like, oh, creative consultant doesn't exist, like what did you do?
So I had come from a corporate background, which I have left because it wasn't the right thing for me. Just the schedule, like I didn't have time for myself. And so it didn't work for me personally. So I kind of set off on this journey to figure out what the heck I was going to do and how I was going to make money. And so I started doing wedding planning with a wedding planner. I started doing some assistant styling at like Neiman Marcus and JCPenney. I started doing a bunch of stuff. And so I finally found a coach who was like, you should be a brand strategist. You have all the skills of a brand strategist, like you have the background, you learned about branding in school. It just makes sense. And I was like, I want to be a creative consultant. And like I said, people were like, that's not a real thing. And so I was like, okay. And I just kind of clung to brand strategy for a while. And I was able to use the skills that I had in brand strategy, and I'm still able to use them as a creative consultant. But somewhere something wasn't clicking and I was making some money from it, but I was making more money doing like different creative projects for people. I do some illustration work on the side for Boston Public Schools. I just did a mural and I've got another one coming up this month. So I was like, oh, it's interesting. I'm making more money doing graphics for people and illustrations and murals and creative projects. And I'm connecting with people more when I talk about the creative journey and the creative process than I am when I talk about branding. So it clicked for me and I was like, but it's a job if I make money off of it. So what does it matter if someone else doesn't think it's a title? Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, real quick. Casey's having a little internet issue, so she might be hopping on off. She's going to try to get that figured out. But okay, that is, I think so many people think that being creative is going to equal being a starving artist, and
Yeah.
that there are no opportunities to use your creativity.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you were doing the things everyone's telling you should do to make money, but then you're actually finding it in that artistic side of things.
It is really funny just because I think I was being told this is how you make money. This is the way that the online, business community works. This is how you're going to get clients. And I was like, none of these are really getting me that many clients or that much money. And when I did the things that felt most comfortable to me and most authentic to me, that's when I was making money and getting jobs.
Isn't that the key?
I know, right?
It's like, that shouldn't be so mind-blowing. That, I don't know, maybe if you're yourself and you really tap into the things that you're passionate about and you're great at, that it can become something that brings them in if you want it to. Some people just want it to be a hobby, and they want to do a norm, whatever would be considered normal, but you don't have to.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that we have the choice these days. It wasn't always like that, but now you can kind of choose whether you want to take a path that has certain benefits versus others. And you, like you said, you don't have to be a starving artist. You can literally thrive and be successful and make plenty of money to live off of. It just depends on how you approach it and the confidence you have in your own creative process.
So I have a question for you, actually, coming from that. Where do you think that approach is that a lot of artists are missing when they're doing the creative process?
So
start their own creative business, I meant to say.
When they start their own creative business. Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit different for every single person, but I think a lot of the time creatives going into business, they either forget the creative process side of things. Like when I first started, I stopped sketching for a little bit and I was like, wait, hold on. This makes no sense. So it's a mandatory part of my business. And I think people forget to put in time for their own personal creative work. I think that's something. I think also people are afraid to put their work out there and to ask people if they want their work, if they need it. Because honestly, people aren't necessarily going to reach out. You're not necessarily going to have your specific client or business reach out to you or follow you on social media. Sometimes you have to send out an email and be like, I know your business, I've been in your space, or I have looked at your space online and I see that you have empty walls and you might need a mural, and these are the benefits of murals, and here's some of my work. So I think a lot of artists forget to put themselves out there or to ask if people need them.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, fear of rejection, I think, holds so many people back in so many different ways. And it's that weird high school dance complex of what if he doesn't want to dance with me? I do. It's like,
I'll be so
embarrassed. You don't have to be in school with them the next day. You just walk out of the business and go bye-bye.
You're like, see ya. Yeah. I mean, I've never had someone send me a mean rejection. It's usually just like, oh, we don't need your services right now, but we'll keep you in mind.
Yeah. That's okay.
So much.
The one thing I love to tell any business that I work with is a closed mouth doesn't get fed. If you are not talking about what you do and what you had to offer, then nobody knows, which means he knows that. And if you're not putting yourself out there as a muralist, they don't know you have that skill set. You're just gonna sit in your house by yourself going, well, why doesn't anyone want me to do a mural for them? Well, nobody knows that you do that.
Everyone knows that you're offering a service.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And murals do solve a problem that people probably don't understand that they do have a problem. But when you walk into a business, I saw that your most recent mural, was it in a coffee shop?
It's in a cocktail bar restaurant.
Okay. Yeah. It was really, really pretty. And I felt like, trying to imagine the space without a mural once it's in there, it's
it's weird.
yeah, it would be really weird, and it would have lost like so much warmth that it has now, like colorfulness. I think it's just such a cool thing.
Yeah, especially in the world of Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got an awesome mural in your business, you're gonna get the people. You're gonna get the people. Whether they buy something or not is on your end with your service and the products you're offering, but they will come in to have that photo op opportunity, you know?
Yeah. And if you look at, I was just going to say, if you look at almost any business that has a mural and you like look at their hashtag or whatever, then the like most of the first things that come up are the mural, are people taking photos with it, or people taking photos of.
That's awesome.
So I have a question for you, and it's, how does someone know a creative career is right for them?
So I guess it depends on the person. I'm very big on like every person is different, but I think, let me think, if a creative career is right for them. I guess for me, it's very intuitive. It just felt right. Like I didn't want to be sitting at a desk. That's why I went to college for art and design, was because I didn't want to sit at a desk 9 to 5. And then I ended up sitting at a desk 9 to 5. So that was when I was like, it's not working. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not doing the things that make me happy. I'm not spending enough time with my family. And I don't feel good about myself. And that's kind of when I transitioned into building my own sort of creative business. But I think if it feels good to you and you feel like you could do that a majority of the time, then it's probably for you. I also think that people don't realize how much creativity they use in their own business.
Yes.
Even if they're like a chemist or an accountant, you have to be able to bend your brain around different ideas and different perspectives. And that's another form of creativity.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that, because I was just thinking, like, for example, our accountant, Kayla, our tax expert, she is so creative. A creative problem solver. Like, whenever we come to her with a situation and we're like, Kayla, I don't know, does this work? And it's truly like, it's a true, genuine question. She is so creative with knowing where things fall under, certain deduction categories, stuff like that, the normal person couldn't see. And to me, that's creative problem solving. You may not be painting a mural, but you could take those skill sets that you have to create your own business and be creative in creating that, what would be considered like a data or like a numbers job. That's art all in itself. I think a lot of people forget how many normal everyday jobs are creative and artistic in its own way.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So what was that path like from art and design school to then finding yourself in a desk? Like, where do you think you went wrong, or right, or how did that path work? How did you wind up there?
So I think when I was in, like, even before college, when I was in high school, I was like, I don't know what the heck I want to do.
Yeah.
And I had to choose, because that's what you're kind of pushed towards in high school. They're like, go to college. And I was like, okay, guess I'll go to college somewhere. And my mom's like, okay, where are we applying? And she's like she's like, let's go to like tour all these schools. And I kind of landed on fashion design and was like, I like it. I like dressing up and styling myself for school. I'm in my design classes at school and I like them. And so I just kind of ran with it. And I did like it in school. I'm not going to tell you there weren't a couple times where I was like, I need to leave, but I stuck through it. And so I think by senior year, I just really burned myself out. I was really pushing and I was like, work harder, because even in movies and in school, that's what you're taught. It's like sleep doesn't matter, like push forward, but your creativity doesn't thrive necessarily on a lack of sleep. So when I left, I was like, I'm going to nanny for a couple months, see what jobs I can apply to, see if I can't do, freelance or whatever. And a job opportunity came my way. And so I took it and I worked for TJX companies in Massachusetts, which is
cool.
TJ Maxx, Marshalls.
Yeah.
And I was an assistant designer. And I think I lost touch with the physical side of fashion because you're not really creating it yourself. You're on a computer, you're doing the technical illustrations, and those get sent to a factory. So I lost a lot of the hands-on creativity that really was what made my brain like work in its unusual ways. So it just slowly like ate at me and tore me down until I was like, I don't even know if I'm creative anymore. I don't know if I'm good at anything anymore. But
know that
I feel that, and sometimes, oh gosh, like I worked at a place where I was, you know, the creative person, and but then a lot of times you get a lot of other people's opinions, and then when you get their opinions, and then if they're not the ones creating, and they're not pulling from within themselves to create that, whatever it is you're doing, if it's a photography, if it's a website, if it's, you know, a graphic for social media, a lot of times people are so focused on what other people are doing and what other similar businesses are doing that are telling you to do that. Like, oh, we want to do it like this. We want to be like them. We want to follow this. We want to, you know, and then before you know it, you're spending, like, from my experience, I was spending my time, what is this place doing? How can we do something? Even though I was trying to be unique, it really wasn't accepted because they wanted whatever this other place is doing. So whenever you're doing that, you're losing that core, that creative core inside of you, and kind of losing that ability to play.
Yeah. And I think one thing that you learn like early on in art class, like even as a kid, is that you're supposed to take inspiration from things, not copy them.
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, we're like, but what they're doing is successful. But we don't realize what they're doing is successful for them. So we have to find what's going to be successful for us.
Oh, perfect for our next question. Casey, I'm sorry, it looked like you were going to say something.
Go ahead.
Okay. So what I was going to ask you is, how do you define a successful creative business then?
I think that if it is making you feel fulfilled, if it is on the track to, you know, filling your financial needs, because it's not going to happen right away. But if those two things are happening, if you are making an impact with other people and you can tell that whatever you're doing is connecting, then I think those are 3 pretty good signs of success in my mind.
I like that.
Yeah. I would agree for sure. I think especially in the online space, you see a lot of, like, you know, 10K months and like 6-7 figure years. And a lot of times, you know, what people don't understand is that business may be bringing in $1 million, but how much is their overhead? How much is their actual expenses? How much are they paying for their marketing even? Like, if I'm saying that an ad brought in, you know, I could say an ad brought in $100,000 worth of sales, but how much should I spend to get that $100,000 in sales? It's all numbers really mean nothing in the whole grand scheme of things until you dig down to what's really going on.
Well, and that is like my least favorite marketing technique, because what if I'm making $2? You're going to say in a month I'm making 10 grand. That's not happening. Like,
there's no way.
Yeah, there's just no way. And some people don't need 10K months. I mean, would it be nice? Yeah, but everyone requires a different amount of money to fill their needs. If you're, you know, if you have a kid, you might need more. If you don't have a kid, you might need less, or you might need more because you live a really like lavish luxe lifestyle. It all depends.
Yeah, I always feel like those people are so obnoxious. And I feel like they're like their own caricature of themselves even. I'm always like you are a drawing I get of myself at Six Flags. Like, you are not even real in any category of realness.
No, and it feels so unauthentic.
Oh, it's so weird. Like, when did it ever be okay? Like, when did it ever become okay to literally post about anything you're not supposed to talk about in Thanksgiving? I talk about it on Thanksgiving dinner, so I'm gonna make it permanent in my grid. You should never talk about your own finances, ever.
Well,
Intimate, private thing.
Well, and to be honest, I don't mind talking about my personal finances if it's going to help someone else. I don't mind telling someone what I make, but I would never tell someone, I'm going to make you make more money and you're not making enough money.
Yeah.
What is that?
Get out of here.
Well, that's the whole sales tactic though in the online space. And I think it really hits core to creatives because it's a manipulative approach to sales. It's a manipulative approach to making a business owner feel like they're not doing enough, that they're not good enough. I always believe in raising your rates after a while, like as you keep establishing and learning and getting better and better, like you should always progress, financially. But I do not believe in looking at someone and saying, you're not doing good enough. I think you should always encourage people and support them in getting to that next step. But we may be a little off topic, but I just want to talk about the pyramid scheme of online coaching and that whole process. I don't know how many times I have been, especially when I first started in the online space, they must have been like, oh, here's a new girl. Facebook algorithm, send her my stuff, because it was like, I'll take you to 10K months and you'll have 6-figure years and 7-figure with my 3 simple steps. And all you have to do is drink my detox tea. And you're like, what? This is not real life.
Yeah, like, I thought we were just going to get a cup of coffee, girl.
But then you realize it costs thousands of dollars to participate in, which is how they are making their 6 to 7 figures.
Yeah. It's nuts. Get out of here. There's just no way. I see it so often. Every time I'm just scrolling and then I'm like, I'm blocking you. You're freaking me out. You're getting on here. And then people will be like, why are you in block? That's spam. You're lying to me. There's no way. If you have time to set up your camera on Instagram, take as many selfies as it takes to take a good selfie, probably 1,700.
Yeah.
A video form. And you're talking about how oh yeah, I'm always working, I'm always grinding, I'm always hustling. No, you're not. You just spent 4 hours on a reel. Liar.
We know how much effort goes into reels, but I'll just say a creative, like you were saying, a creative business, it's not the dollars necessarily that dictates that success. And especially since the amount of money one needs to survive is really subjective to their own personal lifestyle, that, someone who's bringing in $4,000 a month may actually be killing it more than someone who's bringing in, $10, $20, $30,000 a month. It just depends.
Honestly, I'm all about money management. And I grew up, my dad was a doctor and he had no idea to manage his money. And my mom was a hairdresser. And she was working 3 jobs, but that was her main one. And she was like a master with accounting. And she always made sure she had the money. She never struggled. I mean, I'm not gonna say she never struggled, but she always made it happen because she knew how to put her money aside to the places that it needed to be.
I want to say, I feel like that is a huge that's a missing piece to a lot of creative education, is the money and financial side of things.
They want you to be a jockey.
I feel like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think that they teach you in college how to work for a newspaper or, XYZ in order to be the jockey for that person. So that way you hit a ceiling in that job and you just work for them and make the person with the business degree richer. I don't know why they wouldn't teach you any other way. It fulfills the jobs and fills the slots that are open. If you taught a fashion art and design major how to run, their own Tommy Hilfiger, then what?
Then there's
Who's
endless.
gonna work for Tommy?
We would be out of denim. Don't you understand supply chain?
Like, it's crazy. I mean, I remember when I first got to Mass Art, and don't get me wrong, I learned a lot there.
Yeah.
But business was not really one of them. I had teachers who tried to teach us because they knew it was important. But honestly, when I got there, people were pushing for a business minor, and they would not do it. Oh, it doesn't work with our curriculum. It doesn't work here. Do you know what they implemented in my 4 years? An environmental science minor and a creative writing minor. Where's the business? Where are my business classes?
Yeah.
Like the most important.
It's not helping me. I mean, it's helping in certain ways, but it's not helping me build a business.
Yeah. Have you seen Tan Francis Next in Fashion yet?
Yes.
So good. Brittany hasn't seen it.
I'm out the loop. I'm out the loop.
I know who wins. I was so happy. But it really, really makes you think about like the ghost designers and people who design, you know what I mean? Like for Tommy Hilfiger, who never get it out there. Like the woman who designed for FUBU and was like the face for streetwear fashion. Yeah. Why don't I know her? Why isn't she a household name?
Right. You know what this reminds me of? Isn't it Anita from 101 Dalmatians who designed all this stuff for Cruella de Vil, and she took credit for everything?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. That's the only thing I can contribute to this conversation.
Yeah.
You don't know this?
Yes.
Because she made the coat. She made the coat because she had the Dalmatian dog, but she didn't intend for it to become that whole thing where they actually killed the dogs for the coat. Like she was just drawing what she thought was beautiful, and then Cruella took it and then ran with it.
I never rewatched this as an adult.
I haven't either. It's just I remembered.
Well,
because my dog
I'm not
likes
wrong,
to watch
am I? Am I wrong?
You said your dog likes to watch it?
Yeah, he barks at the kidnappers.
Okay, where's your reel about that? We need to see that.
Honestly, we put on TV for him if we leave the house, so we'll put on like the live action version of Lady and the Tramp or his like puppy shows, but we can't put that one on if we leave the house because he will bark at like the bad guys in the movie. Yeah. Sorry, that was off topic, but
no, you're good. Oh wait, Josh Benson. Josh Benson's actually a mural artist in our community. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's like pretty much transformed our downtown with Luke O'Neill and some other people. He says they make it more prominent in the live action remake, and they do. And that is such a good movie. The newest one is so good. But it got hidden in the cartoon, but it actually was like a foundational thing with.
Well, they protected me as a child because I didn't know this, and if I had known it, I would have been really sad.
Thanks for commenting, Josh, and supporting that. I was like, "Am I crazy?"
Anytime I leave footprints in the snow, I like think about like grabbing like a thing of brush and like going like that and leaving it.
Yeah, you can't let people see, your tracks. But okay, so we got a little bit off the topic with that, and now I don't even know where I'm at anymore.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. So actually, let me ask you this: who is your favorite creative to reference when you think about a creative business, or maybe even for your own creative business?
Ooh. I will say I take a lot of inspiration from my mom because she has a writing business. And so I do like brainstorm a lot with her. And weirdly enough, I've been able to teach her things just like she's been able to teach me.
I love that.
Another one is Pander. So they are two muralists.
I love them.
Yes. You do?
I got so excited.
They're so straightforward about money and outreach. And they're like, why would you sit around and wait to be noticed when you can put yourself out there?
Yeah.
And people give them so much hate for that, and I don't understand it.
They're phenomenal. I am obsessed with their work. So I'm just really excited to watch your Instagram grow as you continue to do more and more murals. Oh, Josh Benson said, I love them too. They're famous. They really are. They have an excellent following, and they have, I don't know, they just do great work. Casey, have you seen their work before?
I haven't. I used to get really into street art muralists and stuff like that, but I haven't. I don't know them. It's really cool though when you go to different cities and you get to recognize different murals and artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites goes by Birdcap.
Cool.
He's one of my all-time favorite ones. He's really, really, really good. And there's one more. Of course, right now, I won't remember.
That's all right. You guys will have to swap that later. I'll have to show you Pander because, yeah, Ariana, I can definitely see where they're an inspiration to you. So what do you learn from them then on their social media that helps you put yourself out there and continue to grow in your reputation in your community?
So I knew about certain types of outreach. I didn't know about email outreach until I started watching them. But I think honestly, they just really gave me like a confidence boost, because I think the biggest thing I learned from them was that they say often, it doesn't take a degree to do a mural, right? You don't get a muralist degree.
Yeah.
And you probably already have experience, because that was my biggest thing. I was like, well, I've painted murals like before, but they were like ones in high school or whatever. So it's not like, I don't really have experience. And they were like, have you painted? Have you designed something? You have experience. And I was like, oh. It's like, that's a different thought. Like, I didn't.
Excuse me, I do?
Yeah. I was like, oh, I guess I do. So I think that's something huge that I took away from them. I actually bought their contract originally that they have in their shop.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't have the money at the time to work with like an actual lawyer to build out my contract. And I was able to customize it like myself. And so I love that. Yeah, I think something else, just because I listen to a lot of different creators and a lot of different muralists, pretty much any that I can find that will talk about creative business. And I think from listening to different sources, I take certain things that I like and don't like from each of them, so that I can form my own opinions and form my own business strategies. Because sometimes even what I say might work for people isn't going to work for them, and they have to play around and explore.
Yeah.
I love that.
Important part. I think that like just being that sounding board for people too is really, really important for them. And especially just like when, you know, like you being in strategy, just like somebody coming up and being like transparently like, I tried this thing and it didn't work and I feel stupid. You know what I mean? And you being like giving them like another direction or a different layer, something to do is just like invaluable. Like
it's like find other ways. We can do things that like aren't the popular route to try. It just all depends on like how your mind works and what you're good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Figuring out what the obstacles are and letting people know that it's okay to have those obstacles. Like time is an obstacle. Not having enough time is an obstacle. And I get really annoyed whenever I see a lot of like businesses be like, oh, somebody didn't have enough time. Like they're just making excuses. And it's like, if you can't help them solve their problem of not having enough time, then you're not the right expert for them.
Yeah, it's not necessarily them being lazy. Sometimes like it's that they're uninspired. Sometimes it's that they're overwhelmed and they can't start. Sometimes it really is that there is just not enough time in the day for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Especially
for it.
In the creative realm where you have to, like you mentioned earlier, we were talking about getting in the flow. Someone that might happen at 4 a.m., someone it may happen at midnight to 4 a.m. You know, like when some people can wake up super early and start, but some people actually do better at night into the early morning. And that doesn't make one person better than the other. It's just, this is how I work. This is how my body and my brain works and functions, and it's okay that we all do things differently, because that's what makes the world a wonderful place, is everyone showing up, you know, in their own zone of genius, you know.
I love that. And I love that you were talking about like the time of day that you're most inspired, because sometimes for me, honestly, it changes with the season. So I have to like watch myself and not try to like trap myself into always working in the morning, because now that it's the winter, I like for some reason, I'm more inspired at night.
Mm.
And then in the mornings, I need to move a little slower, and I need to like meditate when I get up and like do the easier stuff. And then like tonight, I just spent like 5 hours painting before this, and I was like, huh, it's really weird that this is the time of day that I decided to sit down and do this. Like, it depends. But in the summer, I'll get up earlier because the sun gets up earlier. So
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, I do feel that on the seasons. Like this time of year, I'm a night owl. I can work.
nothing wrong with that.
I can work from like 8 p.m. to like 5 a.m. and that would be so ideal for me because the world's quiet. It's like it's dark and nothing's distracting me, and I can just do what I want to do, you know. But you know, some people, they want to get up at 5 a.m. or 4:30 and do all their things and be done, you know, by like 2 p.m. Casey, what is your hours? What are the hours, Casey?
Always in bed by at least 10.
It's an early to bed.
And if I can do it,
I'm not.
I'm usually in bed by 9. I would say this is like the latest night I'm gonna have. Girl, I used to go out. I used to be out until 9 a.m. And now it's like, I don't know, I'm going to make my sleepy time tea at 7:30, start down. And then it's like whenever my head hits the pillow at 10, me and my boyfriend will watch 30 Rock together. We'll watch a couple of 30 Rock. And then after we figure out what Tracy Jordan did this time, we just go to bed. And I love it.
I love that.
Oh, I love it. My ideal morning, wake up at 6 a.m., drink 3 cups of coffee before anyone says a word.
You will. Casey, like, first cup.
Yeah,
first
cup. People will be like, where you at now on it? They'll call me and I'll be like, cup 2. Better be an emergency. I love it. So I'm on the opposite end of most creatives I know, and it's just like that structured time.
It's nice.
We love it. I know exactly when my best friend is going to call to tell me about his day. I know exactly when Brittany's going to call. She's going to call me on lunch. Tippity tap in between. I go running at 9 a.m. It is like
perfect
checklist life.
See, I feel like I kind of fall in the middle of that. Like I love that structure. If I can be in bed at 9 o'clock, I will be. I don't always get to, but we have a similar routine. It's like me and my boyfriend, and of course our dog, watch our show before bed.
What show do you guys watch?
It depends. We're big Criminal Minds people.
Oh, you're scary. Too scary.
Really settling right before.
I love true crime, so I'm like, excellent.
We watch that. Sometimes we'll go back to like The Office or Parks and Rec because it's easy. It depends on the mood. Yeah. I personally, sometimes he'll humor me and he'll watch Chicago Fire with me because I'm very invested.
Yeah.
I love that.
Chicago Fire is really good.
Well, I'll just add that I'm binging the Vampire Diaries and the originals right now. So I'm now where like the seasons are lined up, so now I have to alternate. But anyways, that's a side note. But I like how we can all recognize that there are certain times of day that we're like different. Look, I am my best at like 11:30. Like I can do the morning 11:30 to like 2:30. I'm like on it, and then then I'm kind of like I need a little break.
Yeah.
But the nights, and I'm just like like I'm just working till like I have to stop myself at midnight so I can go to bed and wake up at like 6:30.
I can't handle it. I wish I could.
But it's great to be able to recognize that and then start creating a structured. If it is, some people shouldn't have structure because it might tie them down, and that could be something. So what do you see when you talk to other creatives? Do you see like a commonality? Like, is it like too loosey goosey? Do people really like to be structured? What do you see?
I see that either people are trying too hard to be structured or they're not trying to be structured at all. And I think it's about finding that happy medium for you of being like, okay, here are like the pillars of my day that I need to make sure I get done, like taking a shower, or maybe it's your workout, or maybe it's eating lunch, because some people forget that. And making sure that you have certain goals for the day. And if you don't reach them, it's okay. But to make sure you have like the big things highlighted, and then kind of let yourself have some flexibility within. So maybe you have 2 big goals for the day, and one is very business oriented and one is very like creative flow oriented. And that way, when you get up in the morning and you kind of go through your routine and you start work, you can say, okay, which part of it do I want to do? Do I want to be more in the flow and sit on the couch and illustrate on my iPad? Or do I want to, you know, sit and like at my desk and do the business side of things and look at my finances and look at like my statistics for what I've been pulling in and do like emails or whatever. And that way you can kind of decide like which comes first that day and which comes second. And you can take a break in between. Like, that's honestly the biggest thing for me about running my own business. Sometimes I take like an hour nap in the middle of the day because I'm like, oh, this day, it's just gotten to be too much.
Well, you need to rest, right? You use your brain, you use all your creativity. You have to reset and rest. I love that. That just makes me realize like how many gaps I leave in my life because like I'll be honest with you, I don't give myself enough time to play. If I'm like on my computer, I'm working. If I'm not on my computer working, then I'm probably on my phone working, which is not healthy. I need to be journaling and like just doing art for myself too.
Yeah, it's good to do things that don't make money. It's really, really good. It's too, I think that like going back with what you were saying like, way earlier with like talking about some things are hobbies, some things are businesses and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I think it's always good. Just leave yourself one untouched hobby. Mine in the summer, and this is a hobby, I swear. I will pick up worms off the sidewalk at Hyman.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
I make no money doing this. I'll go out there and every time I'll get a little stick and I'll go out there and I'll be like, "Hey, little buddy," and I'll talk to them, put them back in like wet grass. I'm literally not kidding.
She's like, "You're not frying on the sidewalk for my watch."
And I'll go get the worm, and I have this whole routine. It's untouched. I will never make a dime off saving these women's lives. And it brings me so much joy.
I love that so much. You don't even understand.
Joy. Yeah. I'm not kidding. And because I was thinking at one point, gosh. I was like, what did I used to do as a kid that is still so untouched?
Oh my God.
And that always made me happy. And saving worms right before they fry is
Save the Worm campaign.
Oh my God.
I think that's what we need to do, Casey.
Yeah.
Save the worms.
World.
Save the worms. Oh, we got a compliment here.
I'm glad you like that.
I'll share a comment with you.
Save them.
So Josh says Andy J. Pizza of Creative Pep Talk and Pat Hazel of Creativity and Captivity both really stresses the importance of play and the creative discipline on their respective podcasts. I need to listen to podcasts more often, actually. I did mention that I'm binging the Vampire Diaries. So anyways, when that's over with, Josh, I have to listen to the podcast you preferred more. What?
I said, I don't have time for a podcast. There are beautiful people doing vampire things.
Oh my God.
And me, Josh.
Josh, this is great though. He's always listening to really cool podcasts, and you need to come and visit us sometime and see all the beautiful murals in our downtown. It's so beautiful. And you'll see Josh and Luke and some other people's names all over the murals, and it's just really beautiful. It's so great to see stuff that people you care about have made, in real life.
Yeah, I have to come. I want to come. I'm going to add it to my list of places that I'm trying to travel in the next couple of years, because I want to come and see you guys.
Aww.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
should.
Have you
I hope
been to, on the mural talk? Have you ever been to Chicago?
I haven't been. I want to go really badly.
There is this whole mural effort. It's called the Beeline in Chicago. It's on Hubbard Street. Really, really cool. The city transit there, they call it the CTA. They gave these artists a huge stretch of the train property.
Oh, that's
so like all of like the underpass and all that. And every time they do a new mural, they'll host like a giant party under the train underpass. And it's like, they'll like black it all out, and you like have to just like go up there and just know that that's what's going on. And there's like this big dude, and you're like, hey, like I'm here for like the mural. It's like past 9, you know.
Josh wants to come. Josh said, or come and paint a mural.
Yeah,
she should definitely come. Josh, if you know of any mural opportunities in Marion, Illinois, let her know. That would be so much fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah. So Casey, was that outreach? Exactly. was the Beeline? Is that where we went?
Yes, that's where we went.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool.
It's just on the street. Like you can walk around and everything. It's a nice. It's not sketchy around there. You just walk, and you don't have to pay admission or anything to see it. It's just right there. And the artists from all over the world, just incredible works of art. You'd be really inspired by it.
Definitely would. I 100% would. That sounds amazing. And it's so different seeing it in person.
Yeah.
Than like seeing it online.
Because you see it's massive.
Yeah. But I wanted to say something about you had brought up that like you save the worms because it's something you did as a little kid.
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the biggest things in play is going back to things you did as a kid. Like, I have a friend who she worked in this like summer camp for kids who had all sorts of different special needs and disabilities. And so one of the art projects she had them do is they put like this paper all over the wall, and they had the kids dip spaghetti in paint and throw it at as like a form of self-expression and emotional release. But I was like, this sounds fun. Like, I want to do that.
That's brilliant.
Jackson Pasta.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's brilliant. Okay, can I admit something that I did as a kid whenever I wanted to be creative? Okay, I actually wanted to be a fashion designer.
Really?
And yes, and I used to always draw fashion and my high school did not have art. And so I had to basically anything I learned about art, I learned in college or just me doing my own thing. But I loved Barbies as a kid. Absolutely loved them. So for me, I used to create my own outfits for my Barbies. But this is what I used to do. My mother loved to dress us in like the most wildest pantyhose as a kid. Tights, like they were patterned, they were colorful, they were polka dot, they were striped, like wild things. So whenever they got runners in them or they're no longer usable, I would literally take them, cut them, and turn it into a top or a skirt. And then I learned how, my sister and I learned how to sew, and we would literally create like these skin tight like Barbie outfits.
They were like the green M&M level hoochie, honey. They went out there. We were going to the Beeline after 9. We were
they were feeling fine.
These Barbies.
These Barbies. Like no one knew. This is before Instagram. I wasn't famous for my Barbie couture fashion, and then you want to hear the most brilliant idea I had? Okay. I love Reese's peanut butter cups. It's
Gosh,
my
I love
favorite.
Me too.
Okay. It's my favorite. So I'm literally like, what? Like, I don't even know how old I am, but I'm just eating my Reese's peanut butter cup, and I'm like, this looks like a floppy hat. The little paper thing.
Yeah.
So all of my Barbies
And Reese's hat.
Reese's floppy. It was summer fashion. No one else had it. It was one of a kind, except for all of my Barbies. But yeah, so it was like I really had so much fun coming up with the craziest outfits just based on tights that had runners in them and we couldn't wear them anymore. And I cannot think of a time even now that I've had like so much like zany creativity moments and like joy of seeing something come to life in that way.
We
So
know what you have to do, Brittany.
I gotta go buy me a Barbie, and I gotta go get me some wild
I
tights.
want this for you.
I do too.
If this becomes a new like stories segment on my Instagram,
Yes.
you know,
It
just hang in
should.
there.
This
We
is our
love it.
opportunity to play.
Yes.
Well, we saw something the other day. Casey, I think you said it to me. It was like someone using a balloon as like an out. Were you the one who said that to me, Casey?
Could have been. Don't know.
I
That's a lot. DM all the time.
You did give me a lot of. But anyways, that reminded me of like what I did as a kid, and I was like, why don't I do this anymore? But okay, anyways, all that to say, yeah, we need to really like dig back into our childhood memories and bring that joy back into our lives.
Yeah, it's so important because when you're a kid, you look at the world with this perspective that like everything is new and the rules go out the window. There are no rules other than like,
No rules.
you know, don't do something that's going to make mom mad. And even then, like, I remember being, how old was I? Maybe in 3rd grade. And my parents were divorced officially at this point, but my dad had just moved into a new condo. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to paint. And he was like, okay. And he just let us paint on the walls. Like, he did not care. He was like, yeah, go for it. But he's too sentimental. So he literally hasn't painted over it yet. And I'm like,
oh,
this is still in your bedroom. You're an adult. Like, you need to paint over this.
but it's your art. It's your creativity. It's a piece of you.
Yeah.
And that's so precious. I want to cry on that one. That's like the cutest thing ever.
That's
you know,
great.
that's the best thing is when you have some parent or someone in your life who just lets you do. Actually, when Josh Benson, he was on our live stream several months ago, and he talked about the freedom to fail, and because he did his first mural back this summer, and then like he worked with somebody who allowed him to just like figure it out, and it's okay if you make mistakes, kind of thing. And whether it's like someone in like a professional setting or someone in your personal life, he just gives you that freedom to fail, just to do it and find out if you like it. That's so powerful, because I think the fear of failure keeps so many people from doing really cool stuff in their professional lives and in their personal life.
And I talk about my mom as an inspiration to me a lot, because we're on the same kind of like entrepreneurial path. But my dad, weirdly, like, he was so weird, and I used to get so embarrassed by him, but he would let us do the craziest things. And in that way, he really did just let us like fail and explore and be kids. Like, I remember I had friends even in middle school, they came over and we had a paint fight in the condo. And my dad's like,
oh my gosh,
I'm gonna need a picture.
I honestly, I think I still have videos, and we all are like covered in all sorts of different paint, and like we stuffed 6 of us in the shower with our clothes on, trying to like wash it all off. And he's like, it's fine, I'll just Swiffer the floor, like it's washable paint. He would let us paint ourselves green to go to the Celtics games if we ever went to a basketball game with him. Like, just the weirdest things. But he was like, yeah, like if we go on a hike in the woods, we'll go off the path. Little did I know we would end up 4 hours later, lost, like half an hour drive away at a Ford dealership. But like, it is what it is. We made it work. We found our way. But he always let us
Absolutely.
explore. He let us
I love
play.
that.
That's so important. Josh, he said that Ben Folds is the one that introduced the idea of freedom to fail and fear of failure in a keynote at an arts conference.
That's
I love
awesome.
that. We'll have to dig into that a little deeper.
Yeah.
It's so nice, like when other creatives, like when he's talking about this arts conference, like share these concepts with others, because we go to school and it's like you're graded and like all these things, like everything seems so black and white.
Yeah.
And, even the professional world, it can feel very black and white because the goal is always to make money,
Yeah.
and especially as a business, the goal is to make money if you're working, especially in corporate. So there's not that room to explore, to wander into the woods and come out at a car dealership. But what an amazing journey it is when you get to do that and then come out on the other side and be like, okay, some lessons were learned, some mistakes were made, but what a heck of a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I really think that seeing failure as like, okay, I've fallen. This is my moment that I've fallen. Once I get up, I'm about to make a hero moment.
Yeah.
Like this is the moment. All right, I'm down. If I get up, I can either like throw in the towel, or I can have my big like Rocky's getting up anyway moment.
Yeah.
And even if I get punched and knocked down again, we're having that hero's journey right now that everybody wants to see, everybody wants to experience for themselves, and to deny yourself that just because you got knocked down. I mean, like, what a disservice to just living life and just enjoying life and what it is.
Why do I feel like you just preached to me right now? Dear,
I know, that was well said.
I'm just picking up worms.
No, that was like so well said. And it's also that people think, I don't think people realize you're gonna have multiple of those like hero moments in your life. Like it's not just like one peak hero moment in your business. It's gonna happen often. Well, hopefully not too often, but it's gonna happen like often enough that you can recognize it.
Yeah. And what's better than like seeing a business going through a crisis and getting through it?
Yeah.
It's what we want. We want to know that you're real. We want to know that you have like the moment, oh, so-and-so, they're about to close, but you know what? They're going to have this grand finale and try to pull through. So everybody just try to get together. So maybe they'll try to pull through. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't.
Yeah.
But the effort isn't wasted.
No.
And it's really important. And they'll go do something next. Life will continue to happen. They'll do something next.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important just to know that like there's no moment when in good people, they're going to say good people, there's no moment when good people see you getting knocked down and are just like, yeah, and stay down.
I hate you.
I hate this business.
It's making my heart hurt already.
Yeah. Oh, this painter, they used green and not orange. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, like, people like that you don't need in your life anyway.
Yeah.
First of all, second of all,
you're not making any money. You're poor. Stay poor.
Yeah, stay poor. Stay poor, dummy.
Yeah, what is that?
No
one's gonna say that.
Usually the people that feel that way, though, they have so much in their own hearts they have to deal with that they can't handle seeing other people have a bad day and overcome it, because maybe they haven't overcome their bad day yet.
Yeah.
And I think that it shines a light on someone when you see other people doing what makes them happy, overcoming difficult obstacles, and realizing that you haven't done that yourself.
Yeah.
So that's a thing I see. I actually, you can't see it, but I have a sign right here in front of me in my office, and it says, "It's better to create than to criticize." And to me, I think, whenever you have a day where you're feeling bad, or you might be critical for some reason of something else or someone else, I think that's the time you need to shift your focus on your own thing and hunker back down, batten the hatches. Like, let's focus on our thing, because now we're getting distracted by criticizing something that doesn't pertain to you, and and it's easy to see too, whenever someone like shows up in the business and they're like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And there's always going to be someone who's going to have an opinion. There's always going to be someone who thinks that it can be done a different way. And that's fine, but if your heart tells you that you need to do it this way, then you have to do it that way, because it's there for a reason. You're feeling that for a reason. And I see a lot of times people get led astray because they do open up to too many opinions, and it's not necessarily someone they should be taking advice from. So for me, like, just hearing this, having this conversation with you, it's like people are in good hands when they go to you for creative consulting, because you understand all these different sides of things, and you're a supportive person. And that is such a valuable trait to have.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Support across, especially creative spaces. You have to be supportive people. You have to be supportive people, full stop. And I think that that's something, especially, which it comes back to comedy for me specifically, is because you'll get in these like groups of comedians, and you'll always can tell like who's like new and who won't go like a little bit further, because they're that one comedian who like comes in and they think they got like, they got their sunglasses on and like metaphorical cigarettes rolled up in their sleeves, and they're like, I'm not here to make friends. Or they're like, think that they're like, oh, like, look at Casey, her and her stupid brown hair. Oh, like, what are we supposed to be working together, dog? What's going on here, freak?
Don't be tearing people down.
Yeah, and they think that that's like what a joke is, or they think that a joke is in making someone else the joke. I don't understand that, like, if you do get on stage and you do pick at the other actor and you make a joke,
they'll pick back.
They'll go back, and you have a relationship, and you have had like several moments before then that are surrounding this joke, and for a fact it's okay for you to do that on stage.
Yeah.
You know it for a fact because you're like best friends. You know them as well as like me and Brittany know each other. Like, you know them. You're not just like walking up to someone like, hey, like, what are you, Ariana tall? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't do that. It's weird. And I feel like that happens a lot with creatives too. They get like stuck in this whole like, I'm a cool guy, I'm like a lone wolf and just running around here. And it's like, no, this literally isn't going to work. You have to be kind and supportive and nice. This isn't like some weird art school critique circle thing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think I see it like in extreme amounts with you guys too, as being like supportive people in business. Even just when I first met Brittany, it was because I reached out to her and I had just started brand strategy, and I was like, hey, I see you're in branding. Like, I just wanted to connect and hopefully, make a friend in branding and talk about it, whatever. And she was like, yeah, let's jump on a call. Like, let's talk about it. And like, ever since then, now I also know you, Casey. And now like it's blossomed into this wonderful friendship and this supportive environment. And I mean, like, we will both comment on each other's posts and actually take the information in. So it's nice to put out the support because you get it back.
Exactly.
Isn't that true? I know, I'm like so thankful for like the people that Instagram and Facebook have like brought my way. It's like you don't know how you ran into people, but like your worlds collide digitally. And then if you're open to it, like a really great friendship can happen from it. Because I always, even though sometimes like we don't always have time to talk, like we can go months without talking, but we're always like, supporting each other on Instagram. But then we know that, hey, actually have time. You want to, jump on a call? And then it's like time never passed, and
it's nice.
Those supportive friendships they're so important when you are creative and you're putting yourself out there. For me, I've had, whenever I've decided to do Brainstorm Boutique, I did throw, these thoughts out into like certain groups and stuff. And I would always get at least one person like, I don't get it. I was like, okay, then it's not meant for you. And now, and then I would have them say, well, what don't you get? Could you give me some feedback? And try to take that and run with it. And it's like, okay, I need to be more specific on what does boutique mean? It's a small, sophisticated business, what does, all the, learning that if they didn't get it, then there is a disconnect. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I don't do it just because they didn't get it.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot where you can reach out to people, you can, get their feedback, and they may just be like, I don't get it. It's like, okay, that's fine. I think it's worth trying. And as long as you try, then you get data, you get feedback, and then if it was a good idea or not.
Yeah.
But a lot of times really good ideas don't happen and come to fruition because there wasn't somebody supporting them to do it.
I agree.
Yeah. So this is therapeutic.
I love this. I know, it was nice to have this nighttime conversation.
I love this conversation so much. Oh my gosh. I really hate for it to end because we're like over an hour. It's like, I could talk to you for like a whole other hour about this.
Ooh, my phone's dying soon too. Just a heads up.
Okay.
If I accidentally leave.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Casey, did you have any other questions?
No, that's great. I'm just really happy to have met you and have more chats, even off lives and broadcasts and things.
Definitely. I would love that. I would love that so much.
Absolutely. So, Ariana, I want you to tell people how they can connect with you, how they can work with you. And, hopefully this isn't the end of the conversation, getting to know you.
Well, if you need a mural done or you need some sort of creative project, or if you need one-on-one counseling about your creativity or your creative business, you can find me on Instagram at Ariana Lee _creative or at my website, www.arianaleecreative.com. And you can find my email on either of those or shoot me a DM. I'm super informal. So feel free to reach out on Instagram.
Yeah, she has. Easiest. I just want to say you have wonderful content on there. I always love your reels and everything you put out there. You're such a creative person, not just in your murals, but in how you present yourself. We do have a couple more comments from Josh. He says, thank you all for putting this out there tonight. Thank you, Josh, for watching. That really means a lot. Yeah, and then Casey, too. He says, keep saving the worms. So she will. But yeah, I would love for you and Josh to connect one day because he does great work too. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we will see you on the Instagram.
And thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.